Arsenal 6 points clear at top of table. Arsenal missed a chance to move 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League, as they were held to a frustrating goalless draw by Liverpool. This was a disappointing game that ended on a notable sour note, with Arsenal substitute Gabriel Martinelli angering Liverpool in stoppage time when he crudely attempted to push Conor Bradley off the pitch after the defender went down close to the touchline with a painful knee injury. Martinelli was booked and Bradley was taken away on a stretcher with hands over his face. Arsenal, who had won their 5 previous Premier League matches, came into the match with a golden opportunity over title rivals Manchester City and Aston Villa. Both drew on Wednesday. Last season's champions Liverpool, who arrived in North London on a 9-match unbeaten run in all competitions, were without Hugo Ekitike, which meant Arne Slot was forced to name a starting lineup without a recognised striker. The Gunners dominated the opening 45 minutes, but it was Liverpool who had the best chance when right-back Bradley seized on a mix-up between David Raya and William Saliba and sent a chipped effort against the crossbar. Arsenal fired a number of crosses into the box, but there was nobody on hand to apply a finishing touch. Liverpool were then the better team in the second half and looked more of a threat going forward, but neither side could find a way to take the 3 points. The result means Arsenal stay comfortably top, 6 points ahead of their closest rivals, while Liverpool remain 4th. Manager Mikel Arteta will hope the Gunners do not live to regret this performance and result when the season comes to a close in May. His team have been excellent this term, but were below par on this occasion. Arsenal are still in an excellent position, no doubt about it, and this may not be a bad point in the long run. But after facing a Liverpool side who were lacking a recognised number 9, the Gunners may feel they could have been more proactive in forcing a home win. Arteta did try to make something happen, introducing Gabriel Jesus, Eberechiez, Noni Madueke and Martinelli from the bench, but the changes did not stop Liverpool having the better of the second half. This was also a disappointing night for summer signing Victor Gyökeres. The striker was withdrawn in the 64th minute with the scores level after failing to have a shot. Gyökeres could not complain that there weren't opportunities, with a number of Arsenal crosses going across the face of goal without being attacked. Could Arsenal perhaps afford to draw because of their impressive season, and because their nearest challengers are not applying maximum pressure just now? Only time will tell us that. Liverpool arrived with the news that striker Ekitike would miss the game through injury. That meant that the Reds had to line up without a recognised central attacker, and midfielders Dominic Szoboszlai and Florian Wirtz were the 2 players furthest forward for the away side. Arne Slot's team could not get out of their half for large parts of the first period, but then came Bradley's chance out of the blue, and they almost snatched the lead. Liverpool approached the second half with more attacking intent and had an appeal for a penalty turned down when Wirtz went down under a challenge by Leandro Trossard. The visitors created a nervy atmosphere as they pushed for a winner, and Szoboszlai went close late on with a free kick. Liverpool are still not at their best, but they are finding a way to put together an unbeaten run. The title may no longer be a realistic target this season, but results like this could still see them influence who lifts the trophy. Mikel Arteta's post-match reaction: in the first half we were much closer to scoring, with the amount of situations and combinations, the Arsenal manager said. In the second half, we didn't dominate as well, as we gave unnecessary possession away, so you don't travel as well as a team, and as a result, you are not as compact. Every time you don't win, it feels like a missed opportunity, but otherwise we would be 1,215 or 20 points ahead. I have to praise the players for what they have done in this period, because the demands of the schedule are unbelievable. Arsenal missed the chance to move 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League table, as they were held to a 0-0 draw by Liverpool on Thursday. Manchester City dropped points at home to Brighton 24 hours earlier. Though the North Londoners are now 6 points ahead of their closest challengers, they were denied the win any had expected them to register. A moment of confusion at the back saw Arsenal nearly fall behind midway through the first half. William Saliba tried to play an overhit pass from Conor Bradley back to David Raya, not realising his goalkeeper was rushing off his line. The ball ricocheted off Raya's foot and fell back to Bradley, who tried to lob the Spaniard, but hit the bar. Liverpool's appeals for a penalty were rejected when Jeremy Frimpong twisted his ankle in the box under pressure from former Bayer Leverkusen teammate Piero Hincapié as a relatively quiet first half petered out. Another penalty appeal came and went on the other side of the break when Florian Wirtz went down under a challenge from Leandro Trossard, though this wasn't given on the pitch and was then cleared after a VAR check. David Raya didn't have too much to do, with none of Liverpool's shots being on target. Did well to react sharply and stop Saliba scoring an own goal in the first half. Jurrien Timber was one of Arsenal's primary attackers with his line-breaking runs, though his crosses usually went to waste. William Saliba got away with a lapse in concentration when passing back to the onrushing Raya, otherwise defended well, even if that was largely because Liverpool lacked box presence. Gabriel Magalhaes similarly swatted away danger, knowing the visitors lacked threat in the final third. Piero Hincapié enjoyed quite the tussle-up against an old friend in Frimpong, substituted with injury at the start of the second half. Martin Zubimendi didn't set the world alight against his former suitors, but that's hardly his job anyway. If anything, he was the one Arsenal midfielder who actually did their job. Declan Rice. Arsenal were crying out for some presence and authority in midfield, particularly when Liverpool decided to slow the game down. Rice, arguably the Premier League's best player this season, shrunk when his team needed him. Martin Odegaard couldn't pick the lock or control the game in any sense, and as was the case with Rice, that significantly hurt Arsenal's chances of winning. Sub 4s for the final knockings. Bukayo Saka had Kirkes slipping and sliding in the wet conditions early doors, but the Hungarian wised up as the game went on, replaced by fresher legs in Madwek with the game deadlocked. Victor Gyökeres. On several occasions, Arsenal were waiting for a striker to get on the end of the various crosses and cutbacks that went into the Liverpool penalty area. Gyökeres was never anywhere to be seen, touched the ball only 8 times, his fewest in a match for Arsenal, before being subbed for Jesus. Leandro Trossard had one shot trickle wide via a deflection in the first half, but that was as good as it got on a rare quiet night for the Belgian, replaced by Martinelli. Miles Lewis-Skelly replaced the injured Hincapié, but spent so much of his time on the pitch chasing shadows. Seemed incredibly off the pace. Gabriel Martinelli, on for Trossard, wanted a penalty almost immediately when shoved by Frimpong, but his claims were quickly dismissed. Threatened with his pace, but his passing let him down. Turned pantomime villain in added time when he tried to shove the injured Bradley off the pitch. Gabriel Jesus came on for Gyökeres to a noticeably loud ovation from the home crowd. Much livelier than the Swede, but the bar was low. Noni Madwek, subbed on for Saka, like Jesus, sprung into life, but without tangible impact. Ebrechies replaced captain Odegaard, making his first league appearance since December 13th after falling way down the pecking order. Didn't get in the game at all. A disappointing night for Arsenal, who were flat in possession and were helped by the opposition playing with a striker.